I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Think for a moment. Is this woman sober? Pete Hegseth is on Capitol Hill. He is getting his Senate confirmation hearing underway. It started about 2 hours ago. Opening statements, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then here comes Mazie Hirono. Mazie Hirono, I don't think I'm overstating the case, is quite possibly the stupidest member of the United States Senate. But she's also in a state where she can run against, I don't know, the second coming of Abraham Lincoln, and she will still win re-election because that's where Hawaii is right now with its party politics. She is the Democrat. She is senator for life, and she showed everything that you have to see today in this hearing, the 7-minute questioning that we're going to break down. You need to see the entire thing, not just because of the deceitful way they're attacking Pete Hegseth, but frankly, the way Pete Hegseth is able to parry and dodge and respond to these unfounded attacks. And there's a really big lesson here, and that is, if you're wondering if the Democrats are going to change after they got annihilated in the last election, if you're wondering if they're going to go back and actually learn some lessons about the American people and about where things are politically in this country right now after the election of Donald Trump, if you were wondering that, this answers your question. No, they're not going to change at all. They are who they are, and they're just going to keep doing what they do. Take it away, Mazie Hirono.
Focused on your fitness to serve, including your character and temperament and your overall qualifications to do the job. And I do appreciate the comments of Ranking Member Reed with his concerns regarding your nomination, because I share those concerns. As part of my responsibility as a member of this committee to ensure the fitness of all nominees to come before any of the committees on which I sit, I asked the following 2 initial questions. First, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
Senator, I was falsely accused in October of 2017. It was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared.
I don't think completely cleared is accurate, but the fact is.
All right, we're going to jump in here real fast. There's more to it, and I don't want to interrupt her too much because she's doing a great job without my help. What is she laughing about, though? She's actually asking this person about completely uncorroborated, unfounded, and almost entirely anonymous accusations of sexual misconduct. He denies it, and then she starts laughing. I also want you to notice, as this entire thing goes on, some senators are dumber than others. Just the medium level dumb are the ones that have a sheet of paper in front of them that have talking points, maybe even a question crafted for them to put into their own words by their staff. The smart senators, like Josh Hawley, I don't think he walks up there with a sheet of paper at all. Same with Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, Ted Cruz, and, J.D. Vance when he was in the Senate, because he's not now. Now he's the vice president. These guys are smart guys, and they don't need, a cheat sheet, let alone questions written out. Hirono takes it one step further. You talk about stupid. This entire thing is scripted for her, not just the questions. Everything is scripted. And that moment right there, she had to respond in real time, like using her brain to respond to Pete Hegseth, and it froze. She had a fritz. She had it's like Joe Biden. I'm shocked that she's not running for president. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. All right. So watch her read the script that's been handed to her by her staff, or who knows who.
That your own lawyer said that you entered into an NDA and paid a person who accused you of raping her a sum of money to make sure that she did not file a complaint. Moving on. As secretary, you will be in charge of maintaining good order and discipline by enforcing the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. In addition to the sexual assault allegations, and by the way, the answer to my second question should have been yes. I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Now, I'm not one to cast aspersions against a sitting senator, and I'm certainly not one to cast the first stone against somebody who's had a cocktail or two before noon on Capitol Hill, which, believe it or not, is known to happen on a regular basis. But I want you to listen or watch Mazie Hirono ask that question again about being drunk on the job. And I just want you to think for a moment, is this woman sober? I mean, just think about the characteristics of a person who's had a cocktail or two. And the slurred speech, the run-on sentence, the intonations, I think she's drunk while she's asking Pete Hegseth if he's ever been drunk.
Yes. I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited? Prohibited is a hard word to say. Could I get another cocktail, please, before I finish the question? No? Oh, okay. Just answer the question. Do you know that it's prohibited? Prohibited? This woman's an embarrassment. One more time.
With you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Prohibited. All right, I'll let him finish.
Senator, those
Yes
are
or no?
multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC
Do you
News
know that
run directly
drinking on the job
contradictory to the
is
dozens of men and women at
not
Fox News
contemplated?
Channel
And
who I work with
I'm
who
not
came
hearing
on
the
the
answer to my
record
question.
and said they
In your
never
opening
seen
statement,
that.
Mr. Hegseth, you commit to holding leaders accountable at all levels. That includes you, of course. And frankly, as secretary, you will be on the job 24/7. You recently promised some of my Republican colleagues that you stopped drinking and won't drink if confirmed, correct?
Absolutely.
Will you resign as Secretary of Defense if you drink on the job, which is a 24/7 position?
I've made this commitment on behalf of
Will
the
you
men and women I'm
resign as
serving.
Secretary of Defense
I've
if
made this
you
commitment
drink
on
on the
behalf of
job?
the men and women I'm serving
I'm not
because it's the
hearing-
most important deployment
I'm not
of my
hearing an
life.
answer to my question, so I'm going to move on.
That's good. By the way, just in case anyone is keeping score at home, being absent without leave and not telling your superior or your replacing your superior officer or your the person who is your subordinate that you're going to be absent and unable to fulfill your duties for any period of time is also against the Uniform Code of Military Conduct. That's exactly what our current Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, did. He got 95 affirmative votes, by the way, in the United States Senate, including one from Mazie Hirono here. And I don't remember Mazie Hirono calling on Lloyd Austin to resign and step down as Secretary of Defense when it was discovered that he just left the job and went and had surgery and was under anesthesia for his surgery multiple times without ever telling the Commander-in-Chief and without ever telling his Deputy Secretary of Defense, who, by the way, was on vacation in Puerto Rico while it all happened. So there was literally nobody running the Pentagon while he did that. But I don't remember Mazie Hirono calling for him to resign. But that's okay. She wants to make sure that Pete Hegseth will resign if he has a beer after work one day. Okay.
While you have made that commitment, you will not commit to resigning if you drink on the job. As Secretary of Defense, you will swear an oath to the Constitution and not an oath to any man, woman, or president, correct?
Senator, on multiple occasions, including as a young second lieutenant, I have sworn an oath to the
Answer is
Constitution,
yes.
and I'm proud to do so. Yes, ma'am.
In June of 2020, then President Trump directed former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper to shoot protesters in the legs in downtown DC, an order Secretary Esper refused to comply with. Would you carry out such an order from President Trump?
Senator, I was in the Washington, D.C. National Guard unit that was in Lafayette Square during those
Would you
events,
carry
holding
out
a
an
riot
order to
shield on
shoot
behalf of my
protesters
country.
in the legs?
I saw 50
as
Secret
directed
Service agents
to
get injured
Secretary
by
Esper?
rioters trying to jump over the fence, set
Again,
the church on fire, and destroy
You know
a
what? That sounds
statue.
to me that you will
Chaos.
comply with such an order. You will shoot protesters in the leg. Moving on. President-elect has attacked our allies in recent weeks, refusing to rule out using military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, and threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Would you carry out an order from President Trump to seize Greenland, a territory of our NATO ally Denmark, by force, or would you comply with an order to take over the Panama Canal?
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful
We're
commander in
not
chief of
talking
this
about the
country.
election. My question is, would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another
No,
direct what orders
that
the president would
sounds
give
to
me
me-
in any context.
It sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland.
All right. So I hate to be that guy, but can I just say something that I think you're not supposed to say in polite society, and probably nobody will be saying on CNN or MSNBC while they're clutching their pearls and they're outraged that Pete Hegseth wouldn't give an answer to this. But let me just say something. I'm sorry if you don't like this. It's Congress's job to declare war on another country. All right. And Congress hasn't done that actually since 1941 against World War II. Now, Congress has authorized the President of the United States in recent years to carry out military actions against certain countries without fully declaring war on those countries. A recent example, of course, were the Afghanistan and the Iraq engagements, but that had more to do with the larger global war on terror that Congress authorized. And by the way, has still authorized. That's still an open authorization, number two. Number three, the President of the United States does have certain war powers that he's allowed to enact at any given time in his judgment as Commander-in-Chief of our military for the interest of protecting our national security or our economic interests or for protecting American citizens. And the fact of the matter is, whether Pete Hegseth or Mazie Hirono or anybody else wants to agree to it or not, if the President of the United States believes in his judgment as the duly elected president and as the commander-in-chief of the military, that the United States military needs to do some sort of military engagement with Canada, then he has every right to order that military engagement to occur. Now, that doesn't mean she's talking about a full-on invasion of Greenland, which wouldn't happen. But guess what? The they're an ally, they're a neighbor. You can't do that. Guess what? I will guarantee you right now that in the next 12 months, the United States of America, at the command of our president, Donald Trump, will have some level of military engagement against drug cartels in Mexico. Mexico will probably be okay with it. They'll probably pre-authorize it, but that is going to happen. And I'm sorry to say it, but you want to throw out all these hypotheticals out there? Guess what? I want my Secretary of Defense to follow the orders of the Commander-in-Chief. And if that means we got to use the military to do something at the Panama Canal, then hell yeah, that's what you've got to do. Now, this is why I'll never be nominated to a cabinet secretary position. But Mazie Hirono knows that, or if she doesn't know that, then she's completely ignorant of the Constitution of the United States. You know, that thing that she swore to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic, when she became a U.S. senator. Yes, she is completely ignorant to it, but it doesn't matter. She's not there to be a senator right now. She's there to be really good TV fodder for MSNBC, because tonight Chris Hayes is going to have a bit of an orgasm over all of this. Oh, God, I'm sorry I put that image in your head. Let's go back to the hearing.
And take over the Panama Canal. Current DoD policy allows service members and eligible dependents to be reimbursed for travel associated with non-covered reproductive health care, including abortions. Will you maintain this common sense policy?
Senator, I've always been personally pro-life. I know President Trump has as well, and we will review all policies, but our standard is whatever the president wants on this particular
Okay,
issue.
so
With my advice, I will take a
if the
look at.
president
But
tells you that this
I don't
common
believe
sense
the federal-
policy will not be maintained, you will not enable our service members to seek reproductive care. So it
I
sounds
don't
like to
believe the
me.
federal
I'm
government
not
should be
hearing
funding
answers to my questions,
travel for
Mr.
abortion.
Chairman.
No, actually, he did just answer the question. Understand what the question was. Will you change the policies of the Pentagon if the president directs you to do that? And of course, the only answer is yes, of course I will. Guess what? That policy she just articulated about free, unencumbered, unfettered abortion at the Pentagon, that was only enacted by the current president. Joe Biden, what, was Lloyd Austin not supposed to do that? Nope, sorry, Mr. President, you can't change policies here at the Pentagon. Of course the president can change policies at the Pentagon, and he directs the Secretary of Defense to do it, and the Secretary of Defense does it. God, she's stupid. She's stupid. She really is. She's got to be ignorant. Or, no, she's ignorant.
I just want to note that the other area that was of serious concern to me is President Trump saying that he wants to use the military to help with mass deportations, which will cost billions of dollars. And what that will do to readiness is very, very concerning. Mr. Hegseth, I have noticed a disturbing pattern. You previously have made a series of inflammatory statements about women in combat, LGBTQ service members, Muslim Americans, and Democrats. Since your nominations, however, you have walked those back on TV and interviews, and most recently in your opening statements. You are no longer on Fox and Friends, Mr. Hegseth. If confirmed, your words, actions, and decisions will have real impacts on national security and our service members' lives. There are close to 3 million personnel in the Department of Defense, $900 billion budget. I hardly think you are prepared to do the job. Thank you, Mr.
Senator.
Chairman.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, he doesn't have Mazie Hirono's vote. You know, I think when you're the kind of nominee for Secretary of Defense that Mazie Hirono does not approve of, you're just right by my book, actually. So, Pete Hegseth, well done so far. Wear that with a badge of honor. And again, to take it back to the original thesis, this is who the Democrats are. This is what they do. It's all they know how to do. It's all they know how to be. And this is what they're going to continue doing and continue being. They have not learned anything from the election, and good. Keep going. Keep this up, and maybe even Mazie Hirono will lose an election in Hawaii. Increased tariffs on our trade partners, tax cuts and regulation changes. Learn why right now gold is a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold, the only company I endorse, is releasing their ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword written by Donald Trump Jr. I think he knows what he's talking about. To get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text my name, Larry, L-A-R-R-Y, to the number 989898. The national debt continues to increase. Our interest payments on that national debt continue to increase. Gold is still your hedge against a weakened dollar, and Birch Gold is still the company I recommend to help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and that's without a penny out of your pocket. Text Larry, L-A-R-R-Y, to 989898 for your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. No obligation, only information. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers. You too can turn to Birch Gold. Text Larry to 989898. Do that today. Do it right now. Do it. Are you done? Did you do it? Did you do it?